Happy President's Day weekend. Hopefully you have a break today from working and getting to enjoy the day. Excited to take you guys through some different drills for balance and coordination today. You're gonna need a light kettlebell if you'd like to follow along with me, or maybe you're just jotting down some ideas that you can practice later during your workout. So I had mentioned that we're gonna go over some different exercises with the kettlebell that may also relate to kettlebell flow. If you do kettlebell flow, we're going to work on some footwork. This is going to help you with improving your kettlebell handling skills, your timing, your shoulder mobility, core and arm strength. So these are really great all-around exercises that kind of sneakily work your balance and coordination. You may notice it working your balance depending on the stance that you're using, and you may not quite notice it, but it definitely is going to be helping you improve the balance and coordination. So just a quick note on this week's live. So on Wednesday, I just changed the time. We're actually going to be going live at 11 a.m. Pacific time instead of 9 a.m. So it's going to be a little bit later that day. We're going to be doing a full body kettlebell workout. So make sure to join me for that one. It'll be probably between 30 and 45-minute workout. You'll also need a light to moderate weight kettlebell for that. And then on Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be talking about training until failure, yay or nay. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on training until failure, repping until failure, then be sure to join on Thursday as well. But as I mentioned today, balance and coordination. We'll get started in just a minute. I've got my Kettlecorn tank top on, unicorn, kettlebells. It's awesome. If you want to get yours, you can grab yours in the description. Really appreciate it if you support me that way. Any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as we go, and please say hi when you join. Let me know what you thought of last week's topics if you've watched those lives yet. And as always, if you have topic requests, you're welcome to drop them as well. I do take note of topic requests and incorporate them into future lives. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So, hey, South to West, thanks for joining. Did you get your kettlebell yet? Hopefully you got your kettlebell yet, but if not, you jot down some ideas. Okay, we're gonna do a quick warm up before we get started. So we'll go ahead and do a little bit of neck mobility. Go ahead and drop your chin to your chest, slowly turn it to one shoulder, and then come back around to the other. Okay, just side to side. A few times here, loosening up the back of the neck. Good, now we're gonna do the same thing looking up, just bringing the chin over to one side and then the other. Okay, coming back to center, slowly drop your ear to your shoulder and then over to the other side. Let's see. Southwest said no comment. Hi, DJ, thanks for joining. Well, I won't make a comment on it, but I hope you get one soon. Push the chin forward, glide it back. Good. Okay, we're gonna do some pelvic tilts, and we're gonna be doing some different stances today. So real quick before we get started, let me review some of the stances we might be using, okay? So what we do in kettlebell solo, which is a style of kettlebell training I teach, is we do exercises in different stances. First are square stances where your feet are parallel. So this stance I'm in right now is narrow square. Then we have neutral square, just feet about hip width apart. Then we have wide square, feet wider than hip width apart. Then we can also have stagger stances. So for stagger, it just means like one leg in front of the other. We have 3 different lengths. So we have short, which would be about 1 foot length forward. We have mid, which is about 2 foot lengths forward. And then we have long, which is about 3 foot lengths forward. So you can do that in narrow, neutral, or square. So for example, narrow short would be from that narrow 1 foot length forward. Excuse the noise if you're hearing it. My cats are having a battle. Okay, and then you can also do the other side, narrow short. And then you could also do, a narrow mid example, or a narrow long, right? And then same thing with neutral. So you could have neutral short, neutral mid, neutral long, and then same idea in wide square, wide short, wide mid, wide long. Okay, sometimes we do a, for example, a wide long with turnout, with back toes turned out, because that might feel a little bit more comfy on the hip. There's also another stance that you can do, not used as much because it's quite challenging, but we will explore it a little bit today, which is an inline stance, okay? So that means as opposed to narrow feet together, it's one foot in front of the other, and you could have narrow short, or, make sure you can see it, narrow short, or you can have narrow mid, or you can have narrow long, okay? So this is going to definitely challenge your balance a lot more than if you're out wider. Okay, so we're going to be using some of those different stances today. We're going to start off with a narrow short, okay? And we're going to go ahead and do some pelvic tilts here just to warm up the lower back and the lower abs. Why this is important for the exercise we're doing, your pelvis is the bridge between your upper and lower body. So if your pelvis is in the right position, you're going to have a stronger connection from upper to lower body, and therefore stronger overall, more connected, so you can exert more force. Okay, and let's go ahead and switch sides. And also, if you know what your pelvis is doing, you can make sure that your core stays engaged throughout an exercise, which is going to be important on our exercises today. Good, let's go ahead and step into a neutral square, feet about hip width apart. We're gonna go ahead and push the hips back and just warm up the legs a little bit with a hinge here. And then we're going to complete a few more, but I'd like you to do a handcuff. So squeeze the hands together. You can do elbows bent or arms straight, your choice. And get the shoulders a little bit more involved here. Stretch them out. Okay, we're going to step it out into a wide square, feet wider than hip width. And you're going to go ahead and squat, warming those legs up a little bit more. We'll do 10 reps, 3, 4, keeping the core engaged, but just a gentle tuck under the pelvis. 6, just enough to engage the abs. 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Next, you're going to take your fingertips to your shoulders, and you're going to just do some chicken wings. Okay, make some nice wide circles. Get the shoulders and upper back a little warmer. Good, let's go ahead and reverse direction. And then we're gonna go ahead, get into the kettlebell fun. So you're gonna want a light to moderate weight kettlebell. I'm gonna use this lovely pink Vulcan kettlebell I got here. So it's 8 kg or 18 pounds, but you're welcome to use something lighter or something a little bit heavier, but you don't want it to be too heavy or you're gonna get fatigued with the number of reps we're gonna practice. So we're gonna start off first with something real simple. It's called an A-turn handoff, and what we're gonna do is you're simply going to be switching the kettlebell, switching hands and letting the kettlebell swing to your sides. You're essentially gonna be making an A shape with the kettlebell. The tip of the A is in front of you, and then you go out, okay? So usually start with a 3 count, 1, 2, 3, and then you're just gonna swing it across, making that little tip of the A by turning the handle just as I switch hands, okay? So this is an A turn, and you may notice if you're trying it out with me right now and you're in a narrow square stance like I am, that you are already feeling some challenge to your balance, right? Because the kettlebell's kind of pulling you one way and then the other, from one side to the other. So this already is a great balance exercise. Pretty much anybody can do this exercise, provided they have the correct kettlebell weight for their strength level. Okay, so you'll notice the kettlebell is kind of going outward a little bit here, and then I'm bringing it to that point in front of me. Okay, so that's our first exercise. Now, we don't have to limit ourselves to the narrow square stance. In fact, we can take it out to a neutral square stance. I like to do a little 3 count and then start Okay, so same idea, you just have to be a little bit more cautious to make sure you're coming out wide enough with that bell to come outside the legs. But again, that'll reinforce kind of that A shape as we come from one side to the other. Okay, so you can do wide square, but I think wide square is a little trickier with the A turn because you don't want to be hitting your thighs, right? But that's a possibility. You could do it. Another stance you could use for this A turn is something like, well, let's start with something a little easier. Okay, neutral short. Okay, so same idea, 1, 2, 3, and then bring that bell up and over. And again, this is also going to challenge your balance a little more because we've got one foot in front of the other. And of course, when you're doing stagger stance, you're going to need to make sure that you do both sides. So you're training both ways. And you'll notice this is definitely going to improve your grip strength. I think somebody requested last week grip strength, a live on grip strength, how to improve your grip strength. These exercises are great to improve your grip strength and your grip endurance, which is also important. So this isn't the grip strength live. We can talk more about grip strength, but this is one exercise that you can use to improve your grip strength. And it's great for improving your shoulder strength, your core strength, and also improve your shoulder mobility, especially as we move to a few more challenging variations in a minute. So neutral short, a little bit easier because you still get a fairly wide base of support. You want to make it a little more challenging. Take it into that narrow short stance, okay? You're going to definitely feel the balance challenge here. Let's give this one a try. Good. And in order to maintain that balance, you may want to shift forward and back just a little bit with your hips and your torso. It's going to be easier than trying not to move at all, although you could also try that. It's going to provide you a little bit of a different challenge. But in general, if we're balancing, there's something working to help us maintain that balance. Either we're shifting our weight or we're contracting particular muscles to ensure that we remain stable, or both. Okay, go ahead and switch to the other side. Same thing. Narrow short. 1, 2, 3. We're just kind of getting warmed up, so no, we're not really doing any particular number of reps. Honestly, I'm not counting. We're just getting a little practice, getting comfortable with switching hands on the A turn. One thing you'll notice as I'm doing this is I'm making sure to grab the handle with the receiving hand before I let go with the hand that's sending it. And that's really important for safety precaution, to protect your toes, especially if you're barefoot like me, and to make sure you protect your floors. Okay, we'll take a little pause. If you're joining in with me, be sure to let me know what you thought of the A turn. Have you done that one before? Are you starting to get warm? Because I definitely am. It's such a simple exercise, but really great way to, again, build some strength, build some endurance, and work on your kettlebell handling skills, improve your balance, improve your coordination. Okay, so we're gonna keep progressing. Now we've got a different variation that is going to help you with your shoulder mobility, your upper back mobility. This one's called a U-turn. So this one, the bell is gonna go behind you and you're gonna switch hands behind you, but similar idea to the A-turn, but the shape is gonna be more like a U because we have to bend our arms a little bit in order to grab the handle of the bell. So it's gonna be a little bit more rounded behind us. Okay, and again, make sure that you grab the handle with your receiving hand before you let go with the sending hand. And then as I'm doing this, I'm letting the bell kind of come out and my free arm is going to swing. Okay, and that's gonna make sure I don't hit my legs. I'm also kind of turning the handle forward as opposed to like keeping it like this. You could do it like this, but it's a little more likely to hit your legs. So I like to go kind of thumb forward. I switch it and then I let it rotate a little bit to come thumb forward. Now this one can be a challenge, as I mentioned, on shoulder mobility. So if you're not able to do this, or it's very difficult for you to switch, you can continue practicing that A-turn in front of the body instead, okay? And something that I showed in that warm-up may be helpful working on this handcuff stretch. You could even hold on to a stick or a towel to make it a little bit easier. As you're able to get your hands closer together, it's going to become easier to do that U-turn exercise. DJ said, have done A-turn with you before. Great warm-up. Absolutely. Great warm-up. Great exercise. Honestly, it's not just a warm-up. It's great in a workout as well. Okay, so let's give that U-turn a little bit more of a try with a few different stances, okay, before we move on to our next exercise. So we're going to do our 3 count in the narrow square. 1, 2, 3. Bring it back. That's 2. We're going to go to 5, 3, because we got some different variations to try. 4, and 5. Good. Let's go ahead and try it in our neutral square here. Again, 5 reps. 1, 2, 3. Bring it behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice job. Okay, so then we'll try it in our neutral short. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we do a lot of these exercises inside the Kettlebell Solo membership in our classes, and you'll hear some of our members tell you it's how they got strong toned shoulders is from doing a lot of these exercises. Okay, we'll switch. 5 on the other side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Okay. Well, you could do that in, again, narrow short, inline short, any variation. Again, the wide is going to be a little bit more difficult because you could hit your legs, but you could do it if you make sure you go wide enough, but just be cautious if you try that. This exercise is going to work better with a narrow or square width stance. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and now move on to the around the body handoff, which is going to combine our A-turn and U-turn. DJ mentioned U-turn is tougher for me. Yep, I think U-turn is going to be tougher for most of us. It's also a little bit tougher because the kettlebell's behind you, you can't see it. That makes it a little harder in your brain and your nervous system. Okay, so we're going to combine this into our around the body handoff. You may also know this exercise as the around the world. Okay, so I like to start it up here on the hip. Feel free to mirror me so we can time it, so we can flow together here with our around the body handoffs. Okay, we'll start off in narrow square and just do 5 reps each direction. Ready, set, go. So now we're just making one big circle. 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring the bell up, reverse it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So with this one, similar to what I mentioned on the A-turn or U-turn, you can either try to keep your body completely stationary as you circle the bell, or you can kind of like move with it a little bit. Okay, so both of them are going to be good because they're going to challenge you in different ways. Let's try our neutral square, 5 and 5. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it up, reverse it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it up. Good. And we'll give yourself a little break, okay? Because I realize we've kind of been going. If you're following along with me, you might be really feeling your forearms. So to take a quick break before we move on, this is all going to lead to one of my favorite balance and coordination exercise with kettlebells. It's going to include that footwork that I mentioned. So stay tuned. We are going to get to that. We're just going to make sure to go through our progressions and show you all the different ways that you can challenge your balance with these exercises using the different stances. Hi, Jez. Thanks for joining. She said some of my favorite moves. Jez knows. She's done her around the body handoffs and A-turns and U-turns. Okay, so next up, we're going to try a few variations with stagger stance for this around the body handoff, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start in that neutral short, okay? Ready, set, go. We'll do 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse it. Remember to grab with that receiving hand before you let go with the sending hand. Bring it up, switch your stance, other side. You can start to feel the balance challenge and how this is working each side a little different. Ready, set, go. This is such a simple exercise, but so many benefits to it. 3, 4, 5, bring it up, reverse it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bring it up. Okay, now let's challenge your balance a little bit more, okay? If that was easy for you so far, well, stay tuned. Okay, let's try our narrow, short stagger stance. Okay, this is where it's going to start to get a little more challenging. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bring it up, get ready. Sometimes it gets harder when we switch direction. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, good. Switching sides. Part of why this is so challenging is the kettlebell is trying to pull you off balance from every direction in a circle all around you. So it's really testing your balance in many, many different ways. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reverse it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, coming up, okay? And now we're going to challenge you just a little bit more. We're going to test your balance a little bit more. Camille said, I smashed my fingers a couple times with this exercise. I know I do it left to right without going back. Sorry to hear that, Camille. Yeah, you want to make sure that, like I said, you have a wide enough kettlebell handle. That's going to be key. So I prefer a competition kettlebell over a cast iron. And make sure that you are grabbing kind of in the corner and you're grabbing with the receiving hand before you let go of the sending hand. That's going to be crucial there. All right, so let's go next into inline short. Okay, we're gonna make it a little more challenging here. Inline short, so 1 foot right in front of the other, okay, to show you from the side. 1 foot right in front of the other. I'm already struggling a little bit with that balance right here, so let's give this a shot with our kettlebell. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, good. Reverse it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, good. Other side. Sometimes this throws us for a loop doing that other side. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, good. Switching. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. Okay, so another one that you can do here as with this around the body handoff to make it more challenging on your balance is you can do a kickstand version. Okay, so you can go ahead and go kickstand, just meaning you're placing most of your weight on one leg and you're just lifting up the heel and just having the toes down for support. Okay, you could move it a little further back if you like, or just right next to it. Okay, so let's give that a quick try. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it up, switch it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Switching. Other side kickstands. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And switch it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And take a little breather. Okay, I'm going to show you one last version on around the body handoff, but warning, I don't recommend you try this right away if you haven't tried your around the body handoffs, if you haven't been practicing them before. So it's something you can try down the road once you get some more practice in. If you try it now, try it at your own risk. Don't say I didn't warn you. It's a tough one. You want to make sure you actually work your way up to it and practice like the kickstands first, but it's going to be a single leg around the body handoff. Okay, so I'll show you, and again, if you try it, that's at your own risk. I do recommend working up to this before you try it. Okay, so you would essentially just lift one leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to demand quite a high level of balance for this one. 4, 3, 2, 1. And as I mentioned, something to work up to. You can use all the other progressions I've showed you so far to get yourself ready for this single leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and reversing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woohoo! Okay. We are about to get to the exercise that I really wanted to cover with you today. So that was all just part of our lead up into it. But all of those are going to help you improve your balance, coordination, as I mentioned, your arm strength, your core strength, your shoulder mobility, your balance and coordination being the highlight of it there. If you guys have any questions on anything we've covered so far, be sure to drop it in the chat. Happy to answer your questions. Otherwise, we're going to move into the around the body handoff front step. Oh, I had a quick question here. Camille said, how heavy is it? I'm just using an 8 kg or an 18-pound kettlebell. You don't need anything really heavy for this, especially when you're training your balance and coordination. With weights, you usually really don't need a heavy weight to do that. You're going to get plenty of stimulus with a light to moderate weight kettlebell. Okay, so this next drill is going to, as I mentioned, be great for if you like kettlebell flow. It's great to help you work on your footwork and moving in sync with the kettlebell, but it's also just a great exercise for, again, building balance and coordination. It's fun. You can kind of get into a flow with it. It's got some challenging aspects to it, but it's not so challenging. Like once you get the timing, it's pretty easy to do. Okay, so there's some different cadences we can use with this, and what I'm going to show you right now is called step, pause, step, cadence. So we're going to use our around the body handoff, and then we're going to take a step forward and take a step back. So a couple things on the terminology I'm going to use. Okay, my feet together in a narrow square position. It's what's called the home position. Okay, and then you're going to have a foot that steps, which is called your traveling foot, and then a foot that stays home, which is called your home foot. Okay, so if I'm stepping with this foot, that's my traveling foot, and then this leg that's staying planted is my home foot. Okay, you can also do this with the bell traveling in either the clockwise or counterclockwise direction, and that's going to change the exercise a little bit. So let me show you first what I'm talking about, because you may be like, what in the heck is she talking about? So I'm going to show you from the side here. It's going to be around the body handoff. I'm going to step forward and then step back. And there's a specific timing for when I step forward and when I step back. And that timing is the spot where the kettlebell helps me. The kettlebell helps, the momentum of the kettlebell helps my step to feel easier. And again, this is a step, pause, step cadence. So there's a full around the body handoff before I do my forward step and before I return to the home position. But there's also something called step, step, pause cadence, a little bit more challenging. Okay, so that's going to look like this: step, step, pause with a full circle, Okay, and then there's going to be something that's called a quick step. Okay, so step, 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 step. Okay, and that's going to require more accurate and quick timing there with those steps. Okay, so we're gonna just practice our step, pause, step together. Now, what I wanna mention before we give that a shot is that you want to use like I mentioned, the momentum of the kettlebell to help you step at the right time. What does that mean? Well, it means that I want the kettlebell to counterbalance my step. So that means if I'm circling this way, so I'm letting the bell come around, then as the bell travels back, I'm going to step forward, okay? So notice how the bell goes back, I go forward, and then when I reverse it, the kettlebell goes forward, I'm going to step back, okay? And you'll notice that that's going to help you feel the most balanced, and it's going to help make it easier for you to step. If you try to step forward when the bell is going forward, you're going to feel off balance because both you and the kettlebell are going forward, and that's going to pull you forward, as opposed to the right timing, which is the bell goes back as you go forward. Now you kind of cancel each other out, you stay balanced, okay? So we're gonna give that a try. What we're gonna do is you're gonna mirror me if you're practicing here with me, and we're gonna go ahead and do 5 repetitions with the kettlebell traveling in this direction, and then 5 repetitions with the kettlebell traveling in this direction, okay? If you need to watch the first one, you can do that, or if you need to leave your kettlebell and just get the stepping timing down, that's okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start here. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1. We're gonna circle the kettlebell all the way around. Then we're going to step. We're gonna let the kettlebell circle all the way around. Then return. Let the kettlebell circle all the way around. And that was 1 rep, and then we're gonna start that 2nd rep. So if you wanna be brave and give it a try with me, let's do it. Ready, set, go. All the way around, and step. Pause, step, 1. Step, pause, step, 2. Step, pause, step, 3. Step, pause, step, 4. Step, pause, step, 5. You'll bring the kettlebell up, and we're gonna still step with that same leg, but we're just gonna let the kettlebell drop down and go the other direction, so it's gonna feel a little bit different. Ready, set, go. Here we go. Step, pause, step, 1. Step, pause, step, 2. Step, pause, step, 3. Step, pause, step, 4. Step, pause, step, 5. Bring it up, and then we're going to try out this leg. Same thing, 5 repetitions each direction. Feel free to mirror me. And remember, this is just practice. If you're trying this for the first time, don't sweat if you don't get it this first time. It took me quite a while to get it. I know it can be frustrating, but again, it's a great way to build your balance coordination and build really your body awareness and your ability to connect to what your body is doing, to have a better understanding of how you're moving in space and time, along with how the kettlebell is moving and syncing those things up. Okay, so let's give it a try on this other leg. We're going to step forward here. Ready, set, go. Here it is. Step, pause, step, 1. Step, pause, step, 2. Step, pause, step, 3. Step, pause, step, 4. Step, pause, step, 5. Great job. Other direction, same foot. Ready, set, go. Step, pause, step, 1. Step, pause, step, 2. Step, pause, step, 3. Step, pause, step, 4. Step, pause, step 5. Nice work. Set your kettlebell down if you're following along with me. Let me know your thoughts if you gave that a try, or if you have any questions, let me know. So you can also, as I mentioned, you can do that in different cadences, like the step, step, pause, the quick step. You can also, of course, do it alternating, okay? So this would be a step, step, pause, alternating here. Okay, you could do a quick step alternating. I'm like, wait, am I doing that correctly? Step, step. Yeah, okay, so quick step would be here. Okay, really challenges your timing. And then, of course, we can also do this for a back step, right? If we can step forward and back, we can also step back and then forward, okay? So this is going to be quite similar. You could, again, could do it in any cadence. Step, pause, step. Or you could do it step, step, pause. Or quick step. Or you could alternate it. Okay, but the idea is that there's a specific time where it's going to feel the best to do your step with reference to what the kettlebell is doing. And that's kind of the tricky part of this exercise. It's simple, you move the bell around, you're stepping, but it's finding the right timing. And when you find that, you learn how to move in sync with the kettlebell. Okay, you can also work on doing you can learn how to do a side step. This one's a little bit more tricky because it feels different. It's not as clear cut where you should step on this one, okay? But again, you can also alternate which side you're doing. And it's useful if you want to, flow with the kettlebell. If you want to flow with the kettlebell, this could be utilized. For example, you step out, you squat, okay? You step back, you step out, you squat. And it teaches you how, like at what point should you move in order to actually be in sync with the kettlebell and for it to really feel like a flow, okay? So similarly with these exercises here, there's like an infinite number of combos you could do, but you could even step forward into a lunge. You could step forward into a lunge, circle around your leg, step back, okay? So there's a lot of possibilities for how it could be incorporated into a kettlebell flow, and it's just a great exercise in and of itself for balance and coordination. I just love getting into a flow with the rhythm of the stepping at the different cadences. Let me know if you guys have any questions on that, or if you tried it, let me know your thoughts. Could you feel it was working your balance? Have you worked in those different stances that I showed you before, narrow, short, inline, short, or are those things new to you? Because any exercise in those stances is actually going to challenge your balance and coordination. Jez said, I have to get my brain engaged when doing these. Crikey, not tried squats too. Yeah, so Jez, that's some of the stuff you have to look forward to as we create additional, more advanced programs. And so there's a lot of different combos that can happen there. Yeah, DJ said, definitely working balance. Absolutely. You can feel it. You can feel it working. Let me know if you guys have any other questions about working your balance and coordination with kettlebells. Of course, that is not the only way that you can work your balance and coordination, but that is one of my favorite ways to improve balance and coordination and make it fun, where you're not even really thinking about that you're working your balance and coordination, but just doing the A turns, the U turns, around the body handoffs, adding the stepping, and it allows your, keeps your mind active. As Jez mentioned, you got to get your brain engaged. One of the great things about the stepping exercise, it connects your left and right brain, so it's not just good for your bodily health, but it's good for your brain health. It's good for your mental health as well. Elena said, this is splendid for runners. Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, absolutely. It's great for runners. Glad you guys are enjoying giving it a shot. I mentioned before, in case anybody missed it, wasn't here at the beginning, On Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a full body kettlebell workout. So if you like this, be sure to join me for that one. It won't be these same exercises per se, but we're going to be doing some other drills that you guys may enjoy. I did move the time for that. So instead of 9 a.m. Pacific time, it's actually going to be 11 a.m. Pacific time. I apologize for any inconvenience, but needed to shift that. As well as Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to be going over training until failure, yay or nay. I'm going to share my thoughts on training until failure. So feel free to join me then as well. You guys have any questions? Kind of move into a Q&A portion of the live. If you guys have questions for me on kettlebell training, on balance training, fitness in general, any of the upcoming topics, feel free to drop them in the chat. Appreciate you guys being here with me today, especially if it's a holiday, if you're spending some of your holiday with me here. Appreciate it. No questions? DJ's got a good dilemma here. Trying to decide what size bell to get next. What size kettlebells do you have right now? And what do you plan to do with them? It's definitely, I mean, if you're planning on having a full-on kettlebell collection, if you're not already there, it's nice to have, you know, generally it's nice to have every like two kilogram increments, you know, if that's available to you for your budget. If not, you know, starting with the lighter weights and having the right increments is always good. Hi from Ireland. I got a question here. What's your opinion using pre-workout? I've never used pre-workout. I don't recommend it. I don't think that, it depends on what you're using it for, but if your goal is just general fitness, I don't recommend pre-workout. Yuzu Punk said, Ayo, I'm unbalanced and uncoordinated. I wish you hadn't missed the exercises. You had to come a little bit early. You're gonna have to catch the replay to take a look at those. DJ said, I'm using this old one to see if I enjoyed it. Only had one that I bought in 2012. It's 5 pounds. Well, that's great to start with. I think if you're thinking about what to get next, getting maybe a 10 and a 15 pound would be great. Especially if you're following the kettlebell, I know you're following some of the kettlebell solo workouts on the solo YouTube channel, in which case having a 10 and a 15 pound are going to be great. You don't need a huge jump in weight to get the benefit from the exercise. In fact, you're probably going to prefer having just a small jump because it's going to work better for you with those exercises. Other question is, would I recommend creatine monohydrate? You know, I can't recommend it because I have not, I don't take creatine. I maybe have taken it for a short period of time when I was competing in kettlebell sport, but I never really noticed a difference, so I stopped taking it fairly quickly. So I don't recommend it because I can't really speak to it. I know many people do recommend it and find they get a lot of benefits from it, but it's not personally something I recommend. I think as much as possible, it's great to get what we need from our diet if we can. To get as much as we can from our diet is what I would say. Yeah, YouTube Punk said creatine and whey protein isolate have good science behind it. Yeah, I mean, I think they're fairly safe to take. It just depends. Like I find I don't digest whey protein very well, so I avoid that myself. DJ said, I did overhead presses in Walmart today to see which size. Seemed 10 for overhead was best. Yeah, I think 10 pound is a good place to go if you have a 5 pound. Yeah. What would you eat before a workout? That's a good question. It depends on how intensive a workout and what you're doing. And your tolerance to like eating before a workout. If you are liable to get sick or nauseous, if you eat a lot before a workout, you're probably gonna wanna have something quick. Personally, I usually work out like an hour or two after a meal. So I feel like that meal fuels me through the workout, whether it's usually, gonna be breakfast or lunch. But if you are, if you're hours from that, having like a quick snack with some carbs is going to be great, like having a banana or banana with a bit of peanut butter for a little bit more lasting energy. And again, it depends how long your workout, how intense your workout. DJ said, I'm sure I could do more weight if not going overhead. Yeah, so I think that's part of why it's nice to have a range of kettlebell weights if you can, because your upper body and your lower body may have different, one may progress faster than the other, and it may be nice to have some heavier weights and some lighter ones. So if you can, it might be nice to get a 10 pound to maybe progress like upper body, and then maybe you want to get like a 20 or 25 pound to have something a little heavier for your lower body. Yes, Jez, great point. A spoonful of honey, she said. She's referring to I posted a YouTube short saying this is how I eat honey. Just like dipped a spoon in there and just ate a big spoonful. Absolutely recommend like honey or dates before a workout. I think a great, like a little bit of sugar to help you get through that workout. So great point, Jez. You're welcome, Polo Rain. Let me know if you have any other questions. If you guys have a favorite snack or favorite pre-workout thing that you eat, let us know in the comments. I'm curious to hear what you guys like to do. Yeah, YouTube Bunk makes a good point. Bells of Steel has some more inexpensive competition kettlebells. They do have a 6 kg kettlebell, which is really nice. I thought they had a 4, but maybe they don't have a 4. But they at least have a 6 kg, which is nice because most competition kettlebells don't come lighter than 8 kg or 18 pounds. But competition kettlebells are really nice to have with exercises where you're switching hands, because they have a bigger handle, especially with the lighter weight kettlebells, which is really nice for the exercises like the ones we did today, around the body handoffs, A-turn and U-turn handoffs, as well as thigh rainbows, shin circles, and 2-hand exercises, 2-hand swings, 2-hand cleans, things like that. It's nice to have a big handle, but competition kettlebells are generally more pricey. Danny said, natty. Yes, I'm natty. Salome said, should I sleep or scroll? Just a question. Definitely sleep. You should go to sleep. South to West said, I just make sure I have plenty of electrolytes on hand. I sweat a lot. Yeah, that's a good way to go. Make sure you got those electrolytes. YouTube Punk said it's a smaller kettlebell that has the competition form factor. Are you talking about Bells of Steel? I'm pretty sure they're all the same. Well, they're not exactly the same. It's a competition kettlebell, but it's just a little bit of a different shape, but the size is still the same. It's not necessarily smaller, at least the one that I've seen wasn't. Other questions that you guys have about kettlebell training, about balance and coordination? Polo Rain said, I usually have banana before a workout, then have 2 boiled eggs, chicken, broccoli, and spinach for after. That sounds great. Okay, I thought so. YouTube Bunk said, there's correction, they have regular comp bells starting at 4 and 6 kg. Yeah, I was pretty sure they had 4, but that's one of the things I like about Bells of Steel. They're one of the only brands that offers both a 4 and a 6 kg competition kettlebell, which really aren't many. Kettlebell Kings does offer it, but they're very frequently out of stock, so not very reliable there. Okay, I see YouTube Punk said Mark Wildman edition at Bells of Steel. The regular kettlebells are cheaper. Yeah, so unless you want to go with that Mark Wildman edition, the regular ones will be less expensive. Other questions on kettlebells? DJ, did I answer your question as far as what kettlebell weight to get? Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, DJ. The other option of competition kettlebells that are less expensive are these Vulcans, but they're currently in pre-order, and I don't think they're coming in until March or later, so there may be a wait on that. And they unfortunately don't offer lighter than an 8 kg. The other brand that does offer 4 kg is Pro Kettlebell, but Pro Kettlebell is made in the USA and a lot pricier. So in general, as far as price point goes, I think Bells of Steel is probably going to be your best bet for a competition kettlebell. Yeah, those are probably going to be the best options that you can use for everything. Any other questions that you guys have? Yeah, it's good. It can be a little confusing to choose what kettlebell to get, especially when you're first starting. If you do a Google search, it just looks like there's so many different kettlebells. It can be very overwhelming to know which one to buy, or to go through like comparing and contrasting all the different prices and sizes. So it's nice to know if you can get a little bit of a shortcut through those of us who have looked at all that stuff. You will see other ones that are less expensive. Again, Titan Fitness is less expensive, but they also don't carry the lighter competition kettlebells. I believe 8 kg is also their lightest kettlebell. Jez says, when I started with the smaller cast iron with U-turns, I dropped the bell, missing the handle. So I invested in competition kettlebells. Yes. So that may help you, DJ, for those U-turns when you have the competition kettlebells, because it's just much easier when you have the space on the handle for those particular exercises. Yeah, YouTube Punk said Pro Kettlebell 4 kg for 140. Yeah, quite pricey. I mean, the good part about it is you're supporting a USA made small business of owners who are kettlebell coaches and kettlebell lifters, but it may not be feasible for everybody's budget to buy that one. Yeah, TJ said definitely this Kathy Smith 5 is a killer small handle. Yeah, Bells of Steel is going to be your best one. There is also another style of kettlebell called Bionic Body, which I feel like it's not the best kettlebell for everything, because it's not great for like things where the kettlebell sits in the rack position, but it is a way to get a bigger handle, and they're much cheaper. They also have the lighter one. They have the one that's 10 pounds. So I'll drop the link here if you want to check that out, DJ. They sell it on Amazon, and they have a 10 pound and a 15 pound. Again, it's not optimal for everything, but it actually will work okay if you're doing kettlebell solo, because we don't do a lot of stuff in the rack position. So that may be worth checking out if your budget doesn't allow for a Bells of Steel kettlebell. These are definitely a lot cheaper. So it depends. If you get your Bells of Steel, they'll last you forever, and you can do everything with them. YouTube Punk says, I have the Bells of Steel Wildman Edition, regular competition, adjustable, very happy with it. Nice. Yeah, DJ said, thanks, I have a tiny home too. I feel like it's an investment in me. Absolutely. It's absolutely an investment. The great thing about kettlebells are that they don't take up a lot of space like other gym equipment, and you really don't need a lot of space to work out in either. As long as you kind of have a little square around you, you're not going to hit anything when you do your around the body handoffs, you're pretty much good to go. You can get a great workout. Even inside a tiny home, you can absolutely train with kettlebells in a small space, which is one of the amazing things about them. Or because they're portable, you just grab them, take them outside, and train outside if you got nice enough weather to do it, and the ground's not slippery from snow or ice or anything. Any other questions? YouTube Punk said they make excellent door stops. Yes, they do. They also make excellent blocks. If your cats like to open cabinets, you can place it in front of the cabinet, and then they can't open the cabinet anymore. So they're great for that too, in case you never thought of that. DJ said, also when camping in the summer. Yes, absolutely. Great to take camping. Super portable. If you're going to walk out somewhere with them, you just get a farmer carry in as part of your workout. Yeah, I mean, if you have curious cats, it's a thing. If you've got a smart cat that likes to get into everything, then you got to child-proof your home, and kettlebells can help you with that. Any other last questions before we log off today? Hi, Gretchen. Thanks for joining. You're welcome, DJ. I'm going to just drop the link to the Bells of Steel kettlebells so you have that in case just to make it easy, we'll drop that in the chat there. I hope you have a good day as well, Gretchen. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and log off here. Remember that Wednesday, I'm doing a full body kettlebell workout. Be sure to join me for that. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific instead of 9. So hopefully that works for you. Apologize for any inconvenience for those of you who had planned for 9. And then on Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to talk about training until failure, yay or nay, my thoughts on that. So bring any questions that you have around training for failure. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a great week.